Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ringing the Blues, the official Wycombe Wanderers podcast, in partnership with Virgin Media. On the show this week, we have all the action and reaction from the FA Cup first round tie at Adams Park against York City. Plus, we have father and son, Charlie and Chris Jones, joining us for Till Death Us Do Part. But before all of that, let's head to Mexico City for the FA Cup results and some Chairboys Spanish with Uri.
We are ringing the blues from Mexico City. It's me, Uri, and we have the results for the FA Cup first round. That means we have a lot of names from towns and teams we don't know. And we, of course, have Wycombe. That makes us super happy. So, here are the results for the first round of the FA Cup. Worthing 0, Wycombe 2, Woking United 0, Cambridge United 1, Walsall 2, Bolton Wanderers 1, Tonbridge Angels 1, Harborough Town 4, Solihull Moors 3, Maidstone United 0, Rochelle Olympic 0, Accrington Stanley 2, Grimsby Town 0, Wellstone 1, Tamworth 1, Huddersfield Town 0, Notts County 5, Alfreton Town 1, Wycombe Wanderers 3, York City 2. So the Chairboys avoided a potential FA Cup shock by beating York City of the National League. So Chairboys Spanish this week, a cup shock. This one is very easy. How do we say cup in Spanish? We say copa, cup, copa. And how do we say shock? Well, we also say shock. We bring the English word to Spanish, but we also can say choque, shock, choque. So a cup shock means un choque de copa. That's it for this week, and back to England with my amigo Filiberto Cachapollos. Adios.
Cheers, Uri. Right then, York City came to Adams Park in what was a replay of the 1986 FA Cup third round. This time, though, it was Wycombe Wanderers in League One and York City of the National League. Here's what happened. It's Labala on that left-hand side. Can he cut it back? He can't, and he goes down and it's a penalty. Bez Labala wiped out there. The left foot of Luke Leahy now, up against Harrison Mayle. Leahy approaches the ball now and scores, sends the keeper the wrong way. And Luke Leahy gets his second goal of the season in the 13th minute. Kodua gets the ball from Kone, goes to goal and scores! Great finish from Gideon Kodua and Richard Kone with the assist. As the ball's cut back from Wycombe, now looking for Sco, and it's poked clear by Howes. Wycombe are certainly in the market for more goals here. Hartridge loses out though, and now the counter is on. It's 3-on-2 for York. Good ball in now to... The shot comes in and it's there. What a strike! York are back in this. Tyrese Sinclair, who has already got one today. It's going to be Leahy. Up and over the wall, yes! A masterclass from Luke Leahy. It cleared the wall, which is going to be taken quickly by Harrison Mayle. He launches it long towards Dipo Akinyemi. Hartridge gets up. Akinyemi heads the ball in field and it drops to Pearce. Pearce uses Felix now. He's inside the box, goes for goal and scores. Great finish by Joe Felix. And all of us... Gaffer, into the second round. Congratulations.
Thank you. Listen, we've had some tough days here in the Cup. Over recent years, we knew this was going to be another tough afternoon for us, but to get through, we're absolutely delighted.
It was a classic cup tie in the end as well, very close at the end.
too close for my liking. I think we had opportunities to put the game to bed. And as soon as you don't do that, 3-1 is still a tough scoreline when it's a cup game and we're playing against very good opposition who are used to creating chances, used to scoring goals, change formation, threw caution to the wind, put two up front. And so we're always going to be in the game at that point, and was too close for my liking at the end. But ultimately we came out as winners and we have to be pleased with that.
You can see why York are doing so well in the National League after today's performance.
Yeah, you can, and we knew going into the game, we'd watched enough of Hinch's team to know that they were going to be really tough opposition, and it's a tougher game, I believe, in the Cup when you're playing against lower teams who are doing well rather than a team maybe in the division higher who aren't used to winning, because you're playing against confidence, you're playing against momentum, you're playing against belief. So we knew it was going to be a tough afternoon for us. I felt like we did a lot of good stuff. We created a lot of chances, but we didn't close the back door enough, and we gave York a route back into the game, and ultimately we nearly paid the price for that. But there's plenty for us to learn. We're still evolving. I just said outside and said to the boys, we're still evolving as a team, still learning and growing. Some of that has to be on me because I made so many changes to the team. So I take responsibility for the fact that at times it may look slightly disjointed. A few of the boys play today who haven't necessarily been in the team as much recently as they'd like to. So some of that's on me, and I totally get that and understand it. And there was some real admirable performances and effort and application there, and they'll all be better for having those 90 minutes under their belts.
And 10 changes, but for the fourth game in a row, 3 goals scored.
Yeah, which, we want to be that team. We want to be attacking. We've said it and I'm repeating, apologies for that. We want to have that identity and that philosophy about us. And we've got some, and it's not just about the forward boys, it's a way we're building and trying to create opportunities for them. And some of that comes from us being courageous at the back and inviting the press on to give the space to our attacking players in the opposition's half. So it's a whole team effort, as is defending. So it has to become a group thing. And that goes for the team today, it comes for the squad, it comes for those that weren't even involved today. It's about a group thing, and we have to retain that.
Brandon Hanlan back in competitive action as well, which was a huge boost. Yeah,
huge. Those tough days, those days when you're in the gym on your own and working and you see your mates outside preparing for games, it's lonely at times, and Brands has stuck to his work. He's done everything incredibly well and he deserves to get back involved. We really hope that he can contribute more as the season progresses, and that's a big moment for him, getting back out on the pitch and getting back to action. So really, really pleased for him, really excited for him, and above, underneath it all, he's a absolute diamond. We love him, and so really pleased to have him back.
And it's a bit like the question the other week. You know what it's like to come back from a long-term injury. He's done the work, the rehab, the training, but the matches, the minutes, the competitive minutes, that's what really counts, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can train as long as you want, but until you get back out into that competitive action, it's not quite the same. The ball moves that little bit quicker, the opposition are that bit sharper because it's a match day, not training day. So we need to try and bring him up to speed as quickly as we can, but he's done great in training. He did brilliant coming on today. We know that pace on the top line could be a real asset to us. So yeah, we just need to try and get up his minutes as much as we possibly can and safely move him forward and have him contribute on a more regular basis.
And a first home goal for Gideon Kodua, building nicely on that first senior career goal at Burton.
Yeah, Gids is a great kid. Always smiling, going about his work. We think a lot of him. 2 goals now in successive starts, which is great. He's got a lot more to come, Gids. I think he's shown us bits and pieces here and there, but there's a lot of growth left in him. We really, really believe in him. I think the fans are really enjoying watching him play, and we hope that there's more to come.
And Luke Leahy as well, 2 wonderful set pieces, a free kick especially.
Yeah, Luke is just a top performer. He's played in midfield for us a lot more recently this season than left back Luke he did last year. It just felt for the balance of the team that we needed him to play a fullback today, which allowed us to, have Joshy, Butch and Tyreek in midfield. So that adaptability that he has, he's just a game influencer and he just affects things around him, Lukey, and he got the pen, the free kick, and has some big moments for us. So yeah, he's a big part of what we do, Lukey, and I thought he was excellent today.
And it's a busy week ahead now, long trip Tuesday and Saturday, both to the northwest, and those 10 changes will hopefully give you options going into those league games.
Yeah, we hope so. That was the caveat of the performance today and the team selection. We knew we had 2 real long trips and tough trips coming up, but also I believe in the squad. If you look back to Swansea, if you look back to Aston Villa, big games for us as a football club, big games for me individually as a manager, and I believed in the group, and it felt like the right time to believe in the group today. There's no point saying it if you don't action it when you have the opportunity. So yeah, I think it's a really positive day for us.
And finally, a word for Adam Hinchelwood, a former teammate of yours, and they're flying in the National League, and good to see him today.
Absolutely, yeah. Hinch is a diamond. A great guy. Known him a long time. Had a bad injury that finished his career too early. He's done a great job at Worthing, now doing it up at York, and they've got a real good team, and I expect to see them flying for the rest of the season.
And watching the draw tomorrow night?
Absolutely, yes. I'm looking forward to it. We want a home tie. Before you ask me, shall I preempt that? Yeah. We want a home tie. But yeah, it's just exciting. The thing about the FA Cup is it's great to be in it. When you're not in that hat for the next round, it's horrible. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hope we get a plum home tie.
Luke, great day for Wycombe Wanderers into the second round of the Cup, and 2 goals for yourself.
Yeah, a good day. Well, just about a good day. We made it quite difficult for ourselves in the last couple of minutes, but yeah, if you said to me at 3:00 today that you'll be in the next round with a 3-2 win, I think we would have took it, just because it's a cup game, and they're always tricky games when they come, and they're doing really well in the league, and so through to the next round, which is the main thing.
They're doing really well, as you said. They're unbeaten 11 coming into this one, top of the National League, and we could see why at times today. Yeah,
definitely. I said to their boys after the game, I was like, go get promoted, because they deserve to be an EFL team. The way they play, their rotations was very good, and of what we've seen in the build-up, and it was, they replicated it outside in the game. So a credit to them and for the way they performed. But it was all about just getting the job done for us today. We didn't want to be one of them. One of them results where it was an upset. So we've done well, professional performance, and we're through.
And at 0-0, when the referee pointed to the spot, never in any doubt who's going to take that one.
Yeah, I let Rich have one a few weeks ago on his hat trick, but I just seen him give the penalty, and I was determined to take it and put it away.
And the free kick was pretty special too. I've just been told by Matt Cecil that that's the first direct free kick at Adams Park, I think, since Joe Jacobson a few years back. So it was a decent free kick.
Yeah, good steps to follow as well with JJ. And I think he's here today, isn't he? So that one was for him, yeah.
Talk us through it though, because it was very close to the edge of the penalty area. It doesn't give you a lot of room to play with.
It didn't, but for some reason they had a little man, tall man. So I thought if I just get it over the second boy, then it's in. And the keeper did give me a lot of room. Boys in there just saying that Josh Scone's on the bench going, he's never going to hit it over. So yeah, it was just one of them. If I got it on target, it was always going in because of the room he gave me. And thankfully I seen it flying to the top corner and give us a little bit more of a lead.
We saw it last night with Tamworth beating Huddersfield, that these games are tricky. So is it not a sense of relief, but good to get this one out of the way?
No, it's a sense of relief because I seen a thing on Twitter this morning that 2 unbeaten teams coming into it, and the way that they're flying and they're top of the league, so they had momentum as well, just like us. And it was probably a bit nervy more than we would have liked it to be, but we've got through to the next round, and that's all that matters. No one looks at how we got there or what the result was. We're just into the hat in the next round, and we'll see who we get.
Draws on Sunday night, tomorrow night. Who do you fancy out of who's in there?
It's cliche, but I don't really care. Our name's there, and yeah, we'll just watch it and see who we get. I'm sure it'll be an entertaining game.
A home game at Adams Park?
Yeah, home games. I think the big teams come in the third round, don't they? So, yeah, another home game, hopefully, and we can, get a good crowd and a good away following, and we'll see how it goes.
And it's a busy week now as well. 2 away games, both in the northwest. Tuesday, Stockport, and then back up there again for Wigan on Saturday. So big week in the league. Yeah,
and I think the gaffer's reiterated, we're going to need everyone for them 2 games. It's going to be a long week, but we've done it before with Swansea and Blackpool, so we'll do it again, and we've got the squad to go and do these games. Yeah.
And the rotation today meant there will be fresh legs on Tuesday too.
Yeah, I think there will be. I think the way that the squad is, there'll be rotation, in every game. So it was good to have Brandon back as well. It was great to see him back after a year. After just under a year. So it was great to see him back.
Brandon, great day for Wycombe Wanderers, but let's start with a great day for you. Back in competitive action, how did it feel?
Yeah, no, it felt great. Coming back out at Adams Park, it was nice to kind of take it all in and obviously get some minutes. Obviously, hopefully I can get fitter and fitter along the line, but it was just nice to be out there and hopefully much more to come.
We know the hard work you've been doing all the way through your rehab and the training and stuff of late, back in full training, but you can't replicate a match situation, can you?
No, 100%. I mean, you go through training week in, week out. That's what I've been doing. And then comes to a match day and it feels like you haven't done anything. But that's what it's about. I think this the last stage of the rehab is just getting match minutes and kind of just pushing on from there, and as much minutes as you can get. And then hopefully you can be back out there fully fit.
And the fans really enjoyed seeing a couple of those trademark Brandon Hanlan runs down the right-hand side as well at the end.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully as weeks go on, I can kind of make the run over and over again without blowing. But it was nice to obviously show the fans that I still got my pace.
And a lovely reception for you when you came on too. That must have meant the world to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it means a lot when you're coming back from a long-term injury, and it means a lot seeing the fans appreciate that too. So it felt good.
And you're coming into a squad that in good momentum, in a good place, but with lots of games coming up in League and Cup. So there's going to be opportunities to get in here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously the squad's been flying and the boys have been doing very well, but the squad's very big, and that's what a lot of games can do with having a big squad. You can rotate it, and hopefully I can be part of that.
And Wycombe Wanderers have scored 3 goals for 4 games in a row now. That's some feat.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like I said, the boys are flying, and obviously everyone's kind of doing their part, and it's looking good, and hopefully we can keep it up.
And a word for our opponents today, 2 divisions below Wycombe Wanderers coming into this, but in good form themselves, and really gave us a good game today.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously they're 2 leagues below, but they play very good football, and you could see today that why they're at the top of their league. So they were very good today.
And Wycombe in the second round. The draw's tomorrow evening. Luke Leahy, he's given us the stock response. Who do you fancy in the second round?
You know, I don't really have like anyone I want. I mean, whoever it is, I just want to get in the squad and get some minutes.
Great to hear from the gaffer and Luke Leahy, and even better to see Brandon Hanlan back out on the pitch in competitive action. Well, those York City fans are flying high in the National League. They came here on a roll of decent form, but here's what they thought after the game. It's the opposition view. Ribston McCricket.
It's not often that a defeat doesn't feel like one, but today's been like that. A couple of moments didn't go our way, but what a spectacular effort from the team and the supporters. You can't help but love this journey we're on.
YCFC, we love you.
It weren't meant to be, but we did ourselves proud. If only the ref could see what we all saw and had given us that penalty we deserved. A great following from the City faithful once again. We really made a noise in that stand. Back to the league now.
Macca.
Wycombe are a quality side, even if it was their B team. Their movement off the ball left us chasing shadows for much of the game. Add to that the number of their players able to pick a pass, and it's easy to see why they're having such a good season. The only criticism I can level at our team is that they seem reluctant to play the type of passes that Wycombe were playing today. Too many times we take the safe option rather than looking to get in behind or get an early cross into the box before the defence can set. Still, the players never quit, and we really should have had an equaliser at the death.
Navy Red.
I don't think some people realise how strong top-end League One sides are. Ipswich, for example, got promoted out of League One and then, with the same squad, got promoted straight to the Premier League the following season. There's an enormous difference between the top of League One and the National League.
SC Block Reds.
Really proud to be York after that. We had some huge chances towards the end. We certainly didn't embarrass ourselves. Wycombe were solid, but nothing flash for League One. I don't usually moan about refs, but how on earth haven't we got a penalty there? Good effort though.
Gypsy.
Wycombe are near top 2 leagues up, and on an unbeaten run for a reason. We tried, we didn't give up or capitulate, and we rewarded the fans who went with 2 goals. A defeat against a side 50-odd places higher is no disgrace. The fact we didn't get spanked should, in theory, not damage our collective confidence too much. Most importantly, the treble remains on. North Riding Senior Cup, we're coming for you.
1922.
I'm just sat at our Wycombe railway station, collecting me thoughts. As lovely as it would have been to have nicked an equaliser at the death, I'm very glad we avoided 30 minutes of extra time. Wycombe didn't push on once their third went in and mainly kept ticking over. Their defenders, Artridge and Skura, were superb and dealt with most that we threw at them. That said, it were a good test to have, and although it clearly showed the difference in levels between us, we didn't disgrace ourselves, which was the main thing. That were probably about as well as it could have gone, if we weren't to win it.
Victor Meldrew.
The old Argent song comes to mind. Hold your head up, aye. What fantastic support again today. Just like the team, we kept going to the final whistle and beyond.
Son of a Patrick.
Not that it matters in the big scheme of things, but ref were their 12th man today. That were 100% a pen for us on Sinclair. 2 hands on his back when he was clean through on goal. It should therefore have been a red card too. Also thought their pen were a bit odd. Fallowfield don't need to go to ground, but it didn't look like he even touched him to me. The free kick for their goal looked soft too. That linesman were flag happy for our attacks and the opposite for theirs.
Dave C.
They were 2-0 up in 21 minutes. The game finished 3-2. Now, by my maths, that means we won the remaining 69 minutes. The majority of the match, 2-1. So, clearly, we're the moral victors.
There's been a rumour that there's a new lightning-fast player in town, and I can confirm these rumours are correct. Virgin Media is here and is guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser. If you're tired of your broadband giving you the blues every time you want to do something, fear not. Virgin Media are right here in Wycombe and have brought their lightning-fast full fibre to the area to keep you entertained in between matches. Tuck into as many live sporting events, movies, games and tunes as your heart desires. Not forgetting our podcast with unlimited downloads on Virgin Media's intelligent Wi-Fi. All delivered at the speeds you need to keep the whole house happy. And the best part is, you don't need to wait until the next transfer window to make Virgin Media your favourite signing of the season. Find out more at virginmedia.com or drop into your local O2 store. New customers only, eligible Virgin Fibre areas only, subject to survey, network capacity and credit check. Supporting a football club is like a marriage. Your club is there for life through the good times and the bad. We ask Chairboys fans for their most cherished old memory, their current favourite player, the best borrowed player we've ever had, and for something blue, we talk club merchandise. Right, joining us this week, I'm delighted to say we have our first father and son combination on this feature, which makes sense because everyone always talks about how they get into their football club. It's normally passed down from their parents. And we've got Charlie. And Charlie, who's your dad called? We don't know the name of your dad.
Chris.
Chris and Charlie Jones. Wycombe Wanderers fans, obviously. Look at the backdrop. So, Chris, we'll start with you. Where did the journey start with our wonderful football club?
88, 89 season it was. Many afternoons shopping in Wycombe with my mum and looking over the edge of Newlands car park across the Lokes Park. Hearing and seeing the sights. And I think my begging to my dad eventually paid off, and he took me down one Saturday afternoon. I think it was a game against Stafford Rangers. And it stands out because we went 1-0 down after about 2-3 minutes in the game. And I thought, what was all this about? And we eventually won 6-1.
Wow.
Mark West scored a hat-trick, and John Kerr scored a hat-trick. There's a player from the past.
John Kerr, yeah, the American guy.
The American, yeah.
There he is.
Both of them scored hat-tricks in the game. We won 6-1.
So I remember going to Lux Park around the same time for my first game, and it was that being in the town centre and being around on a match day and learning that there was something going on that you were unaware of at first was really sort of intriguing, wasn't it? Which I guess we don't have that at the moment where we are out in Sands. But yeah, that sort of the noise, the people, the excitement of an event going on, that must have been really intriguing to be a youngster around that time.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, must have been 9 or 10 at the time, and it's just one of those things. You see the people, you see the scarves, and people. I mean, there was walking up the little alleyway towards the gasworks, and then coming out onto Queen Victoria Road and up Lokes Road, and then seeing the gates and going in through the old rickety turnstiles. It's what creates the memories. I mean, you're never going to get that unless you go to one of these really old grounds ever again, because everything now today is mobile phones and scanning yourself in. You don't get the person pressing the turnstile with his foot and the rickety turnstiles letting you in. It's just, you'll never experience anything like that ever again.
And what was your first Wycombe memory, Charlie? Your dad took you, right?
Yeah, funnily enough, it was York, my first game, away to York. I'm pretty sure it was a draw 2-2.
I can't remember himself.
I want to say it was 2-2.
It's been a tough journey for York since then, but it was good to beat them yesterday. We speak just after the FA Cup game. So were you a bit like your dad, that you nagged your dad, say, look, I want to go and see my football team?
No, he used to nag me to go.
And now you're hooked.
Yeah.
There we go. So you don't live in High Wycombe now, so you support from afar?
I grew up in High Wycombe, and then obviously I met my wife, and we had Charlie and our kids, and I've moved up to live Glossop, which is 20 minutes outside of Manchester, so top of the Peak District. So it's fantastic for seeing all the Northwest grounds and doing the away games. We don't get down to Adams Park as much as we'd like, but life gets in the way sometimes.
But it keeps you in contact with your area, I guess. No matter where you are in the world or the UK, being a Wycombe Wanderers fan gives you that connection, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's everybody knows something about Wycombe Wanderers. I mean, over the recent years, all you have to do is walk down the road and someone will go, Akinfenwa.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm fully aware of that. Wherever I go in the world, people always talk to me about Adebayo Akinfenwa, which is wonderful. Right, let's talk about your favourite memories. And this is great because we're going to get 2 answers in this, which is perfect. So, Charlie, let's start with you. Your favourite ever Wycombe Wanderers memory. What is it?
There's a load. There's one where at Bradford City, we weren't meant to go to that one because I had rugby training, but the previous week I hurt my ankle, so I couldn't go to it. I injured my ankle. So the week after, we said, should we go to the Bradford game? And we said, and just went, and it was a good game.
Which Bradford game was that?
The Bristol Street Motors.
It wasn't a good game, let's be honest.
Yeah, your dad's got a point, Charlie. It was not a great game, but a fantastic result in the end, wasn't it?
I was just sat there thinking, how many chances do we give away? But Max, that game, just kept us in it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Ready for penalties, to go to penalties, preparing ourselves, but that long ball over to Richard Coney, was it?
Yeah.
And then Richard Coney squares it along to Matt Butcher and drills home. It wasn't even a proper shot, I don't think. It just slowly went in.
sort of bobbled in at the corner, didn't it?
The pitch was so bad that night, wasn't it? I remember, and I know everyone talks about Butch's finish, but I think Richard Kone's sort of control and pass on that pitch, not many people give that enough credit, I don't think, because on that pitch would have been tough to do, I think.
It was a great ball over to Matt Butcher. It was just...
I mean, we said that about the pitch when we got there. It was horrendous. I mean, full credit for playing the game, but if it had been, I don't know, a more important game, I think it would have been called off. I mean, it was just shocking.
There we are. And the goal happened right in front of where you guys were sat, where the away fans were. So the game might have been quite tough to watch, but the scenes afterwards, they made it all worthwhile, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good ride home. It was a good ride home.
Well, as I'm sure your dad will tell you have to enjoy those moments in football because sometimes you're on the other end of those sorts of games. Chris, what's your one? What's your favourite memory?
Oh, I've got absolutely loads, but I mean, I've just been sat thinking about it for a few days, and I mean, Coventry City back in the League Cup, back in our first season in the league. I think they were the first Premier League team that we'd played competitively, and we'd gone up to Highfield Road and we'd lost 3-0, and we'd been pretty much done over. And then I think it was a week later or a couple of weeks later, Jason Cousins did that horrendous tackle on the Doncaster player, which he only got a yellow card for, which today's football he'd have been probably suspended for about 6 or 7 games. But he got a yellow card for it. It was his second yellow and he got sent off. And then he had the falling out with Martin O'Neill and got stripped of the captaincy and was banned from the club. And then he come back in that game and he looked like a man possessed. I mean, he was superb in that game. And we went 3-0 up. And then he went to extra time and we went 4-0 up. And we were like in dreamland. And
still with Crosley. Ryan has a shot. Oh, it's a brilliant goal! A brilliant goal for Wycombe Wanderers. Guppy with a corner. In goes Scott. And there's Keith Scott. Scored the second goal for Wycombe. Hutchinson now for Wycombe. Centres, gets a deflection, up goes Evans. It's there! Wycombe have equalised! Cousins then shoots. It's there. Well, that is Wycombe Wanderers and Jason Cousins.
It was just, I think, for pure tiredness. I think it was about 5 minutes to go in extra time when we conceded. And it was just one of those scrappy goals, I think. Or was that the second one where it looped up over the keeper and just sort of drained all the energy out of the ground. But I always remember that I was surprised because there wasn't many fans at the game. I don't know what the attendance was. It must have been about 5,000 or 6,000. But in those days, the ground just seemed packed for every game. The Martin O'Neill effect, I think you could probably call that.
I'm so glad you put this in. So Jason Cousins, amazing that night. I think one of the best performances I've ever seen from a Wycombe Wanderers player. And I put it right up there with Anthony Stewart at Wembley. It was that good, wasn't it?
It was that good. And we've had some fine individual players over the years. I mean, exceptional performance. And like you say, Anthony Stewart at Wembley that day was just outstanding for what he did.
Incredible. Right, that's so 2 great memories there. Bradford and Coventry, both cup games, which is great to hear too. Right, let's go into the modern day. Something new. So, Charlie, your favourite player in the current Wycombe Wanderers squad? Now, this is a tough question.
It is a tough one, but he came back, which I'm happy about, yesterday from the cup from an injury. Ryan Tafazoli.
Back in the squad, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad to see him back. I could have chose a lot of players, but he just stands out because of the tackles that he does and how he controls the back with Big Jolo.
Yeah. It's been a shame that he's been injured so far this season, but he's been with us a few years now, and he's a good character as well, and he's a real leader, isn't he?
He's one of those players who you always looked at from afar and thought he's a dead good player, and you thought he could do a job for us.
Yeah, and left-footed as well, which someone that tall and left-footed and comfortable on the ball.
It's extremely rare to find a left-footed centre half nowadays.
He's one of a kind.
One of my favourite Taff moments was the header against MK Dons in the semi-final of the playoffs at Allen Park.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's favourite moment, just purely for the fact it was MK Dons.
Hopefully I can find the picture of it, but there's a still photograph of him just as the ball's hitting his head, and I think he knows he's going to score. And he's got lovely teeth as Taff, and there's a big smile on his face as he's heading the ball. It's one of my favourite pictures as well. Defender. So, Chris, what about you? Who's your favourite player in the current squad?
I've always been a big fan of centre halves and defenders. I mean, my favourite current player is Joe Lowe. I mean, just his age and what he does. I mean, for someone so young to step straight into a team when he's not really had that much competitive football. He wasn't a regular at Bristol City. And to come straight into our team and just slip in, and you notice when he's not playing, he's just commanding. And we've always had commanding centre-backs going back to Glyn Creaser, Terry Evans, Jamie Bates.
Yeah.
All through the years, you've always had that one big commanding centre-half. I mean, even Taff, he commands the centre. But to have Joe Lowe there, and for someone so young, he's just awesome. Everything he does just seems he belies his years, really.
Absolutely. And that goal at Bristol Rovers, I mean, he's done two now, hasn't he? But the one this season, especially because it was in the last minute. Yeah,
he likes scoring against his dad's old team, doesn't he?
He does. And we chatted to Joe. He wasn't in the squad yesterday. He was out for rotation, but we had a chat with him before the game. And he's got an amazing record against his dad. So his dad, Josh Lowe, played for quite a few clubs. And Joe has played 15 times against his dad's former clubs, has never lost, has won 13, drawn 2, and scored 5 goals. So that's some record against his dad's former clubs.
Yeah, I don't know whether he still speaks to his dad or not.
His dad must be incredibly proud of him. In fact, I know he is. And he's also a full international as well. He's played under 21s, but he's had that full call-up too, which is wonderful for us as a club to see our players going into full international teams. Yeah,
it is. Totally agree. I mean, from what I remember, our first full international was Mark Rogers, another centre-half. Wasn't he? Ted Rogers. He played for Canada. Going back, and so it just seems to. I mean, as we progress through the leagues, and you pick up the odd cap with the Caribbean nations, we've seemed to have had a few of them. But for Joe Lowe to get a cap with Wales, I mean, he follows on. Obviously, Jermaine Easter got a cap, didn't he, for Wales? But the home nations, it means I think it's a bit more extra special when you see one of our lads playing for the home nations.
Absolutely. Well, 2 very good entries into the Tills FR Stu Part vaults. So Joe Lowe and Ryan Tafazoli, which actually a very good combination together, don't they? So that's good.
Absolutely.
2 strong centre backs.
Yeah, nothing's getting past those 2 in there. Imagine Jason Cousins at right back with those 2 as well. I mean, that's some back line.
Yeah. JJ at left back, perhaps.
Yeah.
We're getting onto our all-time 11 here. This is fantastic.
Oh, no, that's a whole different conversation.
Right, we're on to something borrowed. Our favourite ever loanees. Now, obviously, there's a few names that come up regularly on this, but everyone has their own different memories of these players. So, Charlie, your favourite ever loanee for Wycombe Wanderers?
Mine's a quite recent one. I'll probably say Nigel Longwork.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Because him alongside Taff and Joe Lowe, you could just play any combo and it'll always work.
and his goals.
And his goal scoring. He can score a good goal.
The goal against Reading, I think any striker would have said that was one of their best ever goals in their career. But Nigel just did it and afterwards just went, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. Centre after and then over it just doesn't compute, really.
At Reading as well, which helps.
Yeah.
There was rumours of him having his contract ending at Wolves. So I had my fingers crossed that we would have signed him at the end, but I think he signed a new one and then went off to Huddersfield.
Yeah, he's at Huddersfield now.
He's on that loan at Huddersfield.
That's always a thing, Charlie, with loan players, is that we always say it on this feature, is that you fall in love with the loan players. They're never really yours, but then there's always that longing hope that they will come back one day. And you never know with Nigel, you never know.
Yeah, well,
Fingers crossed.
That slides nicely into one of my favourite loan players ever, because he did come back. Stuart Castledine.
Wow.
He come back and it was those early days of Alan Smith. I mean, I don't know whether I should mention him. It brings the mood down. But
I'll have to put a warning out at the start of the episode, but don't worry.
Yeah. We got Stuart Castledine. He was pretty much unknown on loan from Wimbledon. And I think he scored maybe 1 in 2. He only played about 8 or 9 games, and he scored 1 in 2. And just remember him being in the midfield, and he was just fantastic for what he did. And then he went off back to Wimbledon, not to be heard of. And then Laurie Sanchez signed him permanently. And when he come back, he was like 12 stone heavier, couldn't chuck a bag of cement, and he just wasn't the same player. It was part of the FA Cup run to the semi-final. I remember he played a few games in that.
Yeah.
Just like an auxiliary striker, because we'd lost all our strikers. But yeah, Stuart Castledine stands out as. But my absolute favourite, I think, would have to be Stephen Taylor on loan from Newcastle.
Ah, yes, yeah. Just
What a
8
player.
games, but amazing.
Just again, another player that I don't think many people had heard of or were aware of, but he come in and he did laps of honour after the game, because everybody just fell in love with the bloke. He was just unbelievable. I mean, he went on to have a great career in Newcastle. I don't know whether he even might have been in the England squad, but I don't know whether he won a cap for England, but he should have done. He was just immense.
You do love your centre-backs, don't you? This is interesting.
I mean, it's the rock of the team, aren't they? Centre halves. They're there to do a job, and I think the strikers get the credit for scoring the goals. I mean,
You can't blame them.
your wingers are the flair players. They get all the credit for doing these fancy tricks. But when you want someone there,
Just to put a foot in and do a vital piece of defending or off the line, or just get the ball up, making them chances for the strikers.
absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't let any goals in, you've only got to score a scrappy goal and then you've won the game. So, defenders, I think it's about time we showed some appreciation, actually. This is good.
And quite a lot of the time, if you want a scrappy goal from a corner, who's going to be in there?
A good header in.
Here we are.
Hence, 9 Tafazzoli.
And we've got to show our age a little bit here, Chris, because Stuart's son now is on loan at Shrewsbury.
I believe
from Chelsea, and scoring a few goals there as well. I think he might have even played against us in one of these Bristol Street Motors games at some point. But yeah, so that starts to make us feel a bit old, I guess.
I mean, when you're seeing kids of 16, 17 playing now, and you're thinking it's just not possible when they've been born in the 2000s, and it'll be soon to be the 2010s. People will be making appearances in the first team, and it does make you feel terribly old.
Yeah, football has a habit of doing that. Right, we're on to something blue. So there's a fine array of merchandise in this video that we're looking at now. We've got the green away kit. We've got a training top there, and the playoff flag in the background. But these are your ideas now for the club shop. What should the club shop be selling, Charlie? What should we be doing?
I've got quite a few ideas.
He's got a long list.
A pair of pajamas just to chill out in, because you can just chill out, just watching whatever. Just
go to the ground in your pajamas.
Go to the ground in your pajamas. Another one I would probably say is Funko Pops. Like little mini figures.
The bobbleheads. Each of the
players.
I like these. I think these would be very popular. I'd love to have a little Gareth McCleary on my desk.
Yeah.
You've often said that, and especially for kids, I mean, and stuff like that, when they go in, pick their favourite player, and they build the whole squad. You can have a whole squad of bobbleheads.
And then they'll be good to sign. Just take them into the ground, get a player to sign them.
Okay, pyjamas and bobbleheads, or what do you call them? Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look those up. These are good suggestions. Chris, what other end of the scale here, age-wise, what's your suggestions?
I mean, my favourite piece of merchandise, I mean, I think it's been mentioned before, but I found out my old...
Oh, my God, this is brilliant. We got a gnome.
Wycombe Wanderers gnome.
And you've looked after this one. This is in excellent condition.
I have looked after it. It's been stored, and I found it out. And when Charlie said, "Oh, I've spoken to Phil," and so I thought, merchandise-wise, the gnome's got to make a reappearance. And I know on some of the previous episodes it's been mentioned.
Absolutely. Well, we've had some pretty heartbreaking stories about the gnomes. There was a gnome that got destroyed in a shed fire. There was a gnome that was deserted. Someone lived in Milton Keynes, and then had a gnome, and then just moved house and left the gnome on its own in Milton Keynes, which is a terrible way to go. But and I've been sent several pictures of Wycombe Wanderers gnomes on Twitter, and they all seem to be in some sort of state of disrepair. That is like it's new. That's fantastic, Chris.
I like to keep hold of it and put it pride of place in my bedroom.
So are you saying that we should definitely be getting the gnomes back in the shop?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, this is becoming almost like a campaign now. You're about the fifth or sixth person to suggest this. So we need to listen to the people, Chris. We need to get the gnomes back, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, it needs going on the internet and Twitter and whatever else. Bring back the Wycombe Wanderers gnome. I
think if we do, we might have to get you to write a sort of a care guide to sort of make sure that people maintain and look after their gnomes properly. Because if we're going to unleash a whole load of new Wycombe Wanderers gnomes out into the world, they need to be cared for.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the number one tip would be don't leave it in Milton Keynes.
That's number one, isn't it, really? It's a good rule for life, actually.
Yeah. Don't take to Colchester or visit Slough.
Oh, wow. That's made my day to see a Wycombe Wanderers gnome in its pomp, in absolute pristine condition has made my day. Thank you so much for this, guys. And also, it's lovely to see that the father and son combination. I wasn't expecting the answer you gave, Charlie, about it was your dad that nagged you to go to the football. That's a role reversal, which I quite like.
No, he's been interested in football, but trying to talk to people about Wycombe Wanderers. When you've got, especially around Manchester, you've got the big teams, obviously. It's pretty obvious and self-explanatory who they are. Kids tend to drift towards the bigger teams and the success. But for experience and match day experience, going down to the lower leagues, you've got more time, you've got more opportunity. It's like you see the players going into the ground, you can have a chat with the players, they're more approachable. There's none of the airs and graces that the Premier League players, they walk in with their headphones on and they're not interested in the fans. Whereas, go on. And plus, if you walk out saying wearing a Wycombe shirt, you're always guaranteed to have somebody ask you, what shirt's that?
Yeah.
What club's that?
And also, because you guys are near Manchester as well, you must get ample opportunity to speak to Manchester City fans, and you must remind them of the fact that we have a 100% record against them in the league. Yeah. It's important that Man City fans have got this grounding in their life.
Absolutely. I mean, I work with plenty of Manchester City fans. It's well aware to them that we've never lost to them in the league.
Yeah. So, and you never know. We may play them in the league again soon. We may get to test that record one day. You never know.
Let's hope so. I mean, I remember Main Road in that stand in the corner. What a game!
Wonderful times. Well, guys, it's been wonderful to chat to you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your memories. And presumably you're going to be at Stockport because it's just round the corner.
Yeah, we certainly will. Yes. Hopefully see you there.
See you there. And a few more games. Wigan on Saturday as well. It's almost like you got two home games.
Yeah, it's funny how these games sort of pan out. I mean, if it had been the original date for the Stockport game, we wouldn't have been able to make it. But luckily, because it's now a Tuesday night, it's worked out fantastically well.
Well, enjoy the short journeys. I'm going to be spending most of my week on the M6, but there we are. That's football. And look forward to seeing you there. And thanks for taking part in the feature.
Fantastic. Thanks, Phil.
Right, that's your lot for this week's episode of Ringing the Blues in partnership with Virgin Media. Many thanks to Chris and Charlie Jones for sharing their memories. And we'll be back next week with news of our trip to Wigan Athletic in League One. In the meantime, come on, you Blues.